Mark Carcasole joins us now from near the Rogers Stadium in Toronto. Mark, great to see you. People at that first show last Sunday voicing concerns. What have you heard?
Yeah, Crystal, the staff at Rogers Stadium here have another chance to get it right because, as you mentioned, last Sunday's show by Stray Kids left a lot of the fans in attendance with a bad taste in their mouth. Some of the concerns that were voiced there were, first off, just long lines at security. Once you pass security, people said that it was a long walk from the front gate to the actual stadium itself in the intense heat and sunlight. And then after that, they had a difficult time finding water. The water bottle refill stations were warm. And then at the end of the night, it took people some 2 hours in many cases to get out of the stadium and onto transit. Now, officials say that they think they've got the right formula this time around. They think they can fix many of the issues that were seen. But regardless, it left a lot of people thinking that perhaps their first show at Rogers Stadium might be the last show they attend. Courtney Pest was one of the people that was at that Stray Kids concert last Sunday. She uses a walker. She has special accessibility needs. She says she went to staff with her and her crew telling them, listen, we need to get to accessible seating. We need an escort there. They were told no problem. And then she says they were left waiting for an hour. No one really knew what to do with them. Have a listen.
It was hot and we were just really frustrated. We just wanted our seats. Things had gone wrong from the get-go. The whole ground inside the venue is gravel and wood chips. And there's I had a walker, girls with wheelchairs. The 10-year-old had that one-legged scooter. And she was just struggling every step she took because she just was tripping over everything.
Difficult situation for many people in attendance, but not only for people in attendance. We also heard from local area residents who had noise concerns. Now, we remember when the stadium was first announced in a news conference last September, we spoke to some local residents who told us that there was no consultation with them whatsoever. And these are people who've lived in houses in the area just behind the stadium for decades at this point. They said the stadium was just announced and the first that they had heard of it was at that actual news conference. There was no consultation with them. And they certainly heard that Stray Kids concert last Sunday. It'll be interesting to see if perhaps some of their volume concerns are alleviated after tonight's concert, the first of 4 Coldplay concerts this week here.
Well, and Mark, you were down at the scene and it looks like a sprawling location. So just the size of it might be an issue for those officials to address some of those concerns. But what else are you hearing about how those issues, really serious issues, will be dealt with?
Yeah, we have to keep in mind Rogers Stadium is in uptown Toronto, certainly not a rural place, but not as dense as you would get in a downtown venue like, say, Rogers Centre or the Scotiabank Arena. So everything is very much spread out, and much of what is needed, things like water and food, are not as easily accessible. That is one of the things brought up by the local city councillor, James Pasternak, who says things need to be brought into the venue to make things right. He says that he has been meeting with other city officials. The city manager was even brought into discussions along with Live Nation, the manager of the facility, and Northcrest Developments, the owner of the land that it's on, a former airport runway, by the way, which will soon be developed into houses. They've had big meetings to talk about what they can do to get things right next time. One of the things Councillor Pasternak says is just some quick fixes that he thinks they should have in place by tonight's concert.
I mean, some of them are fairly straightforward. You need more access to water, whether it be bottled water or whether it be tap water. You have to do that. That's a phone call away. The other thing is you need better access to washrooms. They have to be closer to the stands, and there has to be more of them. That's a phone call away.
Now, there are some larger fixes that Councillor Pasternak says need to be put in place too. He's musing about the idea of potential road closures in the area when there are big events like these at Rogers Stadium. If you're familiar with the area, if you're watching from Toronto, you know Shepherd Avenue, you know Wilson Avenue, you know those are major arteries for people who live in the area to get in and out. He's suggesting possible partial closures of some of those routes during concerts. While it may seem like a good idea on paper, I don't know how local residents would respond to that. It'll be interesting to see how things go once that is put into practice. Now, Live Nation emailed CBC News Toronto late yesterday. They say they are implementing some solutions right away. Some of the things that they put in that email directly: reconfiguring venue exit routes, tripling the number of water stations, more transit after shows. That was one concern, as they were directing everyone to Downsview Park subway station. But there are actually 3 subway stations that you can access from this venue. So they say they'll do a better job of spreading out the access to the subway, and quicker service for fans with accessibility needs. Again, all great ideas on paper. I'm sure people who attend tonight's concerts and the 4 concerts by Coldplay this week will be the judge of how that's actually done once put into practice.
Mark, thank you so much. Mark Carcasole reporting live for us this morning.